with one problem, and that's 1848 French Revolution. Caste and power, these are very important concepts that keep coming in different courses, which you have to read. Now, when we look at Marx's theory of class, we have to look at some of his writings. Okay, it's my last lecture. And I'm going to complete my teaching in a lot of time. Yes, how many years? Just guess. 20? 35? No, not correct. Keep guessing. So, no more guess. Well, 35 becomes very close to the 38 years. But actually I am here for more than that. I joined the school in 73, so I'm around for about 40 years, not 30 years, 35, 38. So if you add these two, it's 40 years, pretty long time, right?
Hello, sir. So for whatever short time that you taught us, there was so much passion and so much care in your teaching that we loved it.
So every time you taught us, it felt like years of knowledge was in a classroom.
And we are very fortunate that we were the last batch to be taught by you.
It's wonderful. We're glad that he was the one who was teaching us Marx.
Because it feels like it's like a world of knowledge linked up into like one series of ideas.
He was so gentle.
Very soft.
Like he was so gentle.
Yeah.
You were so gentle with your teaching. We've all felt that.
Even after clearing a doubt, you would ask us if we were sure of how the question was handled and how it was answered, and if we were happy about the answer that you gave us or not.
But you were one of, I think, a handful of people I've met who really encourage disagreement in class, and that, I think, sort of inspired me to be a little more independent in my thinking, though I had very few classes with you. So yeah, I'm going to remember that.
There was always a sense of being in touch with the personality that I'm learning about, and so whatever I did learn, I felt like I could imagine it.
He always started from the very basic. Like he would explain Marx like Marx was never known to us. And we were just beginning to know this new person that we were going to be taught about. And that sort of gives you a sense of confidence.
Fortunate enough and honored to have you teach us sociological theories. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, now I think I first met Professor Dasgupta when I had just come back after field work. I think this is in 1983. In 1983, when I had just come back from the field work that I'd done for my PhD from Purulia, and I think he was sitting with a group of his peers in the coffee house. And I remember the first question he asked me was, what fuel do they use for cooking? So I think that already tells you how important detail was, even in the way that he conceptualizes his work. I think what I really do respect and appreciate about Professor Dasgupta's work is the very sort of uncluttered, non-fussy way in which he approaches the subject. So he's been really generous, not just in sharing his knowledge with me, but also in telling me whom I can meet, whom to contact, loaning books, etc. So I have to say that we will really miss having him here. He is also really a connoisseur of very good Bengali literature, Bengali films and so on. So there is a way in which I think probably maybe his generation of scholars, there was a sense in which you did try and kind of, at least in terms of the kinds of values of knowledge that he espouses, a kind of Renaissance learning, where you took an interest in many, many dimensions. of culture, even things that you weren't necessarily working with. And that is something that probably does characterize a particular generation of scholars. I don't know whether it will carry on in the same way. There will bound to be change. Anyway, we hope to see a lot more of you, Abhijit, since you're not going to be very far. And I hope you keep visiting us in the department. We will certainly be calling on you for your expertise on many different occasions, I'm sure. Anyway, all the best post-retirement, and it really is the beginning of the next phase of your academic career.
Abhijit Dasgupta. I probably have known him for the longest time from anyone who is currently in the department. We first met as students in Sussex, where his supervisor and my course director were the same. He was from the department. He had left and to do his PhD there. I was still sort of attached to the department but not attached to him. And at that time, he sort of took me and this friend Padma, who was also from the department, by hand, taking us around the campus, helping us travel to London and other places to get what we required, showing us around the library. And we of course then spent many other times together other than work, but a relationship between colleagues which was of course imbued by our common interests in academic work as well as that personal relationship. So there were times, for example, when I would take over from him in terms of a course he had taught, but at a point where students didn't realize, because I would be taking over because he'd gone on leave and I would be marking the exam papers of what he had taught. But it was only possible because we had certain common interests. So that's been a long time with many changes in our lives, in the situation of the department, in the university, times when we would discuss academic work, books, exchange ideas, times when we disagreed. I remember again, when I was maybe amongst the first people from the department who also saw him as a new father soon after his daughter was born, and we visited his home here in Vijayanagar, climbing many floors up. So there's all these sorts of different connections which are there.
I've known Professor Abhijit Dasgupta since 2002 when I joined this department as an MPhil student. Then I came back in 2009 as a faculty. That's when I started sharing two courses. One is sociological theories and another one is political sociology. I learned quite a lot from him. Very experienced faculty. What I like about him is that, very detailed kind of thing. Especially I enjoyed when we frame questions together. I think that's the time when I learned quite a lot. And the last thing where I have had good experience is in the Teachers Residents Association. I served as secretary for 3 years, and he was the advisor. There I also encounter the other side of his personality besides academic engagement. I came to realize that he has also some short temperament. He gets angry also. Otherwise, he is very simple, down to earth. But when there are certain things which are not fulfilled, especially in the colony, then he gets upset and he shouts to people to ensure that things are done. So I think very, very good learning experience I have had from him. So we will miss you a lot, sir. Thank you.
I am so happy to share some of my ideas and thoughts about Professor Dasgupta, whom I have known for more than 15 years by now, both as a senior colleague in the department and as also my supervisor for my PhD for at least about 5 years that I have been working for my PhD. Professor Dasgupta has also stood by me both in times of pain and pleasure. One can see that when I was, of course, teaching different courses, I was really looking after different issues, but it was so scattered. So I was always going to Professor Dasgupta, Professor Khaka, of course, and then trying to work out the way I should be teaching, the way I should be pursuing my research as a young colleague. So they were the first to guide me in trying to make my own kind of teaching and research. I registered for my PhD in 2015, and I can still actually say that it was much to do with Professor Dasgupta's kind consideration that he was at that time HOD, head of the department, and he was also very keen to see to it that I really complete all the formalities from the submission of the application form to writing of the proposal and different drafts that I submitted. He went through in minute details and then tried to shape the research proposal. And he was always there who tried to make my research the way it is going on.
दासगुप्ता सर को मैं तब से जानता हूँ जब मेरी यहाँ ज्वाइनिंग हुई थी 2013 से मैं यहाँ हूँ। तो उससे पहले जब मैं यहाँ था तो HOD देशपांडे सर थे, उसके बाद दासगुप्ता सर आए। मुझे नाइस पर्सन, अच्छे हैं, बहुत आराम से बात करते हैं, प्यार से समझाते हैं और उनके साथ काम करने में अच्छा लगा, मज़ा आया। कभी कभी गुस्सा भी होते हैं। एक दिन का वाक़या याद है मुझे, जब एक फाइल जो कॉन्फिडेंशियल फाइल थी उन्हें जो कन्वीनर थे उनके पास थी, लेकिन रजिस्टर में मेरा नाम चढ़ा हुआ था, तो वो बहुत गुस्सा हुआ। लेकिन प्लीज़ आइए, उनको आगे होगा ये होगा। लेकिन बट जब कन्वीनर नेक्स्ट डे आए तो पता चला फाइल उनके पास है, तो वो भी ऐसे हमने भी थोड़ा वो हुआ था कि फाइल मिल गया। तो ऐसा छोटा मोटा वाक्य होता रहता था, हंसी भी करते थे और मज़ा भी करते, डांटते भी थे। लेकिन बस सिर्फ ऑफिस से तो बाकी दिन में बहुत ही अच्छा उनके साथ बात करने का और जॉब करने का साथ में बहुत अच्छा है। एक बार ये जो ट्यूटोरियल्स की जो अटेंडेंस सीट होती है मेरे पास मांगने आए उस टाइम ये नोटबंदी चल रहा था, तो पैसे की प्रॉब्लम थी, शॉर्टेज थे, लोग लाइन में लग रहे थे। तो मैं उनको गिन के देने लगा, तो कहने लगे ऐसे दे रहा है जैसे नोट गिन के दे रहा था। तो सबको बहुत हंसी आई, वो भी हंसते हैं। पसंद बहुत शुभ और बहुत आराम से स्लोली बहुत करने वाले हैं।